Okay, I had to rewatch this episode when I was fully awake. Eli discovered that Bobby is sleeping with everything in the White House that has a dress on, including his wife. Of course, Bobby never admitted that he slept with Simone. So Eli wanted to know why Sam would say such a thing. So he lied about sleeping with Priscilla, and I think he said this just to take the heat off Simone. And Bobby's just standing there outside of his Secret Service clothes with all of his muscles bulging, shining, strong. And all he had to do was blow on Eli, and Eli would have just fell to the floor. Eli got some nerve to stand up to Bobby. Is he crazy? Donald done gave him too much of that Hennessy, and now he thinks he can bark up at Bobby. All Bobby had to do was just hit him one time, knock his ass out like a light. But I don't think that Eli believed him for 1 minute. And all while this interrogation is going on, Max is in the background trying to stop Eli from talking so much and questioning Bobby. But none of that worked, and Eli left. So then Kyle came in flirting with Bobby. And this is very interesting because Bobby was, brushing him off. But I think that at the beginning of this whole series, there was something going on either between he and Kyle or between him and Donald. But I think it was Kyle. They don't really talk about that much, but we didn't forget about that. But Kyle is there to basically encourage Bobby to start seeing Lily again because she's always in a good mood when Bobby's around. And I would be too. But Bobby had to rough him up a little bit just to get him off of him because Kyle just could not stop with his flirting. And speaking of Lily, Officer Brian Keller, I can't remember, but he's back on the scene. And I thought he was dead. Didn't Donald kill him like last season ago? Whatever Donald did to him, he survived it. He showed back up outside of Lily's house because he said he wanted to save her. He wants to get her out of there, quote unquote. And Lily was like, we've already been through this before. You cannot keep me safe. And she pretty much told him that she's given up the fight. She's just gonna stay there in her room looking at her little digital dresses and just take whatever abuse Donald wants to give out to her today. He said that he can get her out of there, that there's no security around her house, and he can just come in there and Donald will never know that he was there. Now, this hero has turned very obsessive. Why is he so invested in rescuing Lily? Especially when Lily don't even want to be saved anymore. I mean, he used to be a police officer, but Donald took care of that, and he's ex-military. So maybe he's taking this on as some sort of assignment just to prove that he still got it. But what is it about Lily? He said that it was something about the way that she looked at him at the hospital. And I'm like, bruh, you doing all this from the way she looked at you? You haven't taken her on any dates, and you certainly haven't slept with her. So what's really going on here? Him showing up is just absolutely pointless. Hunter can feel his legs again. He's up walking, and he finally discovered why he wasn't able to walk in the first place. And I thought that they had resolved this last season too, but anyway, nonetheless, he noticed that the only difference in him being in that wheelchair and then able to walk is that Victoria wasn't around. He put 2 and 2 together and just figured out that it was Victoria who was lacing his food. He kind of reminisced and had a flashback about when Priscilla caught Kyle in the bathroom. So he was on point with that. And speaking of Victoria, they were talking about how she was going to suffer in jail and how Gail would be pleased that she was going to jail. So here we have the Gail reference again, and now they're pretending to not know where she is, and we all know that Victoria and Hunter had her put away in this internment camp, like 3 or 4 seasons ago? But now they don't know where she is, and maybe it was just Victoria who did it, and then Hunter had no idea. Maybe he was too high or something, I don't know. They want to know how long his standing and being able to walk is gonna last, so they say that they're gonna need a doctor's opinion, and they want to get a doctor up to the bedroom, but of course they can't do that. Then we're back to this tunnel thing. And Jason said that he can't let them know how to get downstairs through the tunnel because he doesn't want his father to judge him. And this is another issue that I thought was resolved last episode. I thought that he agreed to show them, to walk them through these tunnels to get downstairs, but now Hunter is acting as if they didn't talk about it. So I don't know. Simone called Priscilla in the middle of the night. She wants her to know how pissed off she is about everything that went on that day. And she also wanted to know if Priscilla wanted to sleep with Bobby. And Priscilla was like, yeah, of course I want to. And then she goes, well, did you sleep with him? And Simone lied, and she said that she didn't. And they kind of decided that they weren't gonna let that bother them or come in between their newfound friendship. And here we are again with a character flaw. Even though Priscilla probably knows that her marriage is damn near over. And this is what stopped her the first time is, out of respect for her husband. But now that this may be no longer, she's still considering sleeping with him. Sloppy seconds. How can you sleep with him after Simone has? And not just Simone, Lily too. And I know that she can't be this naive to not believe that Simone has not slept with Bobby. Bobby is a straight up pass around. And I don't know, Priscilla could do so much better, but we're going to find out a little bit later how she's going to handle this Bobby thing. Max wants to talk about the same thing that he talked to Bobby about last week, his Schling-A-Ling staying in his pants. But Bobby doesn't want to keep it in his pants. He wants to share it. He said that he's kind of tired. He's been on shift for like the past 18 hours and he's going to go to the break room to take a nap. Eli is in his Oval Office spazzing out over Bobby and Simone. Just the mere thought of them being together is driving him up a wall. But don't worry, Eli. Donald is there with the drinks to make it all go away. Donald loved grabbing them glasses, don't he? But this is just what Donald wants. He wants Eli to invoke this punishment on Bobby because he's the president and he can do so. And I thought they were planning to take Bobby out. But then he called Kyle and Kyle is going to just watch Simone to make sure that she's not sleeping with Bobby. And we all know it's a little too late for that. They were talking about having Bobby relocated. They were talking about castrating Bobby. I don't know. Bobby's a threat now at this point. And Donald was like, Eli, I didn't know that you had it in you. And Eli was like, don't let this suit fool you. And I'm like, Eli, shut your scary ass up. Ain't gonna bust a grape. So Donald decided that he was going to relieve Max and Bobby. Now he's got Alonzo and Kane on detail. Priscilla called Bobby and she wanted Bobby to get proof that Eli and Victoria are sleeping around so that she can pass it along to Hunter. Then he let Priscilla know that he's working on his own plan. Wonder what that's going to be. Then the real Priscilla showed up. She told Bobby that he could have Simone and that she was merely using him as a pawn to get back at Sam. Now that made more sense. And I wonder what Bobby has going on. I mean, he's been the central focal point for the past 2 or 3 episodes and now he has a plan. I don't know. I wonder what this plan is and I wonder if it involves Max. So this would be the second time that Sam walked in on somebody doing the nasty, but it's not what he thinks. Priscilla was only pretending that Bobby was in her bed, and Priscilla is definitely getting in Sam's head, and he was like, how could you want to sleep with that nasty bastard? Is that what you want? And then he started to get in the bed. He's just taking off his clothes and just gonna hop in the bed without taking a shower. And Sam was like, don't worry about it. I'm not gonna touch you. And now he wants a divorce. And I thought this is another issue that we solved last season, but I don't know, maybe it was just me. But now he wants a divorce and he called her an emotional dumbass. And their marriage, their relationship went from sugar to really fast. Like, I don't know. Sam was definitely in the wrong and Priscilla held it over his head for like 3 years. And now they're going to finally move forward with the divorce. And in our final scene, I've already broken this down, and I'll leave a link to that video at the top of the comments. Richard came home and found all of these liquor bottles on the table, and Dale was in the house. Of course, Dale told him that it was okay that he was there because Miss Nancy told him that he could stay. And right here is where Richard was still showing concern for Nancy and how she was going to be feeling because she doesn't really drink like that. But he saw that all those liquor bottles were empty and he was concerned about how she was going to feel the next morning, which is proof to me that he still cares about his wife very much. So as he's standing there talking to Dale, his dad walked up in the house talking about he's there to show his condolences for Barry. And come to think of it, are they going to have a funeral or some type of memorial for Barry at all? Everybody just forgotten about Barry. I guess they just had to nip that storyline in the bud as quickly as possible because it has been kind of dragging along, right? But Richard is surprised that he's showing up this time because it's, it's a little late in the game to be showing sympathy for something that happened, a little while ago. So Richard was like, nah, what you really doing here? And then Nancy came from around the corner, dressed to impress. She had everything hanging out, barely leaving anything to anyone's imagination, especially Dale. And then Nancy revealed why Clarence was there in the house because they were sleeping together. She's rubbing all of this in Richard's face. And Nancy wasn't high on drugs. She wasn't drunk anymore. Like, she had plenty of time to sleep that off or to let it wear off. And I'm sitting here in this moment thinking, Nancy, of all the men in the world, the only person that you could think to sleep with was his dad. Like, this is his father. Like, this is just insane to me. She was no longer hiding anything. She was no longer covering it up. And all while she's sitting there running her mouth, all Richard could do was hang his head in shame. He was really hurt. I mean, he was basically overcharged with emotion. He grabbed that knife and went straight for his dad. Boom, right in the chest. And Sam warned us about this in the last episode. He told Dale when he was standing there in that living room, he said that if Richard found out that there was another man in his house, in his bed with his wife, that he would kill everybody in the house. And this is why we're going to see Richard sitting outside praying in the next episode. They haven't really said much or anything about Richard's mom, you know, Schling-A-Ling's wife. But I don't know, maybe we'll hear something about her in the next episode or future episodes. But Clarence is down for the count. He's out of here. I really believe that he took him out. But what do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments if you think that Daddy Schling-A-Ling is going to live to see another day. And if you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. You know, I'd appreciate it. And if you're a fan of Tyler Perry's The Oval, like I am, then go ahead and sub to this channel for more videos just like this one. Thank you so much for joining me today, you guys, on Ruthless TV, and I'm going to see you in the next one.